Well, the playoffs are here. That means everyone has to up their game. That includes Todd and I. NASCAR Inside the Race has moved out of the studio and into the film room. There's a lot to break down, and no better race to start the playoffs than the Southern 500. No gimmicks, no strategy. It is a fight. You just stand there toe-to-toe and trade blows.
And every facet of your race team has to perform here. You've got to have pit crews. We've got, 7, 8, 9 pit stops on pit road. You've got cars got to handle, drivers got to be there. Strategy calls. It's all going to matter in this race, and a great way to kick it off.
Well, normally we break down the winner. Kyle Larson won. He was unbelievable in practice. A little bit of an up and down day, but in the end, he lasted all night long. To be honest, I was shocked it was his first Southern 500. His car control, his signature should match Darlington, and now he can officially say it does as he gone to victory lane and on to the round of 12.
Yeah, if you look at guys and you say, who can run the wall the best? The two guys that were fighting at the end are the two guys that are going to come up, Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick. And Kyle Larson has been dominant here in the past, just not come through to the end, finally put his name on it, or face on that trophy.
I won't lie. I thought we were getting a storybook ending. I thought it was Kevin Harvick's day. Last season, 10 races left. He's won there before. He had the speed to win. And really, when I think back to this race, that's the moment. The battle between Reddick and Harvick. Let's set the stage. Final stage of the race. What could be the final pit stop of the race. It's coming under green. You've been there. I've been there. You're in second, which surprisingly is an advantage. I want my driver to know what the plan is, but so late that the leader can't counter.
Yeah, it's one of those situations. When you're 2 seconds of a lap slower on old tires than you are new tires, that opportunity for the second place guy to short pit by 1 lap, the leader, that's going to jump him in front of him, put him in a position. I thought Rodney made a great call, a great situation for them to come to pit road.
Yeah, great call, very concise. Let's listen in to the 4 radio.
Hit this stop. Come on down. Remember your entry speed here.
Good, concise communication from Rodney Childers as late as possible to allow his driver to come to pit road. We heard that. The 45 heard that. So then this is the communication from their pit box to the driver, Tyler Reddick.
All right, pit this time. 4 should be coming with us. Just get to us. Staying out here. Spinning behind you. Yellow. All right, I think it's all going to be fine, man. You all right? You get hit? No, I'm all right. Sorry. No, all good, man. Probably a little late. We were just trying to listen off the 4. He was trying to jump us. So I don't think he made it before the pit road closed. So we'll see.
So it's obvious they were listening because they said, hey, pit, and the 4 is coming. So they already heard. Now let's see what this all looks like because it sounds great, but it caused a little bit of trouble. It caused a wreck.
It did because Rodney made this call late enough. I didn't feel the 45 could respond to it. And they're asking Tyler Reddick to pit from the wall.
Yeah, so let's show this. Down the backstretch, you're on board Kevin Harvick. That's Tyler Reddick right ahead. Right here, pit. He runs to the bottom, Tyler Reddick to the top. Now, Harvick was already running the bottom, so this doesn't look totally different. Tyler Reddick running the wall, pit road is around to his left. It's over, basically, pit in is in this area right here. I think he's committed. There's no chance he can get to pit road.
As a seasoned veteran, I think he just calls off this and says no audible. I can't come because he knows that he can't get there, especially old tires, wore out racetrack. Getting down that hill, he tries, but almost gets wrecked in the process.
He tries. You mentioned seasoned veteran. Well, he's definitely a young guy, and he's not afraid to try. So to give you a sense of speed, I'm going to run at full speed. The 51, Ryan Newman, is going to come in to the frame to the right of Harvick here. Just watch how much he closes in on Reddick. So I'm going to pause it right here because we're getting ready to wreck. The 51's in the gas. He's leaving turn 4. He's finishing his lap. Kevin Harvick's coming to pit road. Right now, Tyler Reddick is out of the gas. Great work by Ryan Newman not to hit him. This could have been an absolute huge wreck.
Definitely could have been. And if we go on board with Tyler, you'll hear the downshift trying to get there and the realization he's going to get wrecked.
Are you impressed? I can get to the video. I'm getting better with my stuff. So listen in. This is Harvick. You're going to see him turn left. Next car, Newman. It makes me laugh still because Tyler Reddick is on the brakes, and at some point he realizes the 51 is going to run him over. He downshifts, and he basically gets out of the wreck.
Yeah. Fortunate for him, Ryan Newman made an evasive move to not run him over, and he reacted. If either one of those didn't happen, it would have been a big wreck.
All right, so what's that mean? That means the caution comes out, pit road closes. This is where it kind of turns from good decision to bad execution for the force. First, let's pay off exactly what happens. We're going to move this forward. Here comes Michael McDowell. He gets on pit road. Okay, so the 51 is wrecking here. Pit road, commitment line here. And then the light, I'm going to let you draw this on your side.
The light is green. So
that means the track is under green. When the caution comes out, that light goes red, it closes pit road.
Right. When that happens, and McDowell here, he makes it to pit road, he's green light. And Kevin Harvick behind him here, making a commitment towards it. The red light comes on, you're backing it through it there, right about here, turns red. And as you see this, you'd think, well, he's got plenty of room. This is at all four tires, just about spinning out. You're trying to get all the speed you can to make sure that you just get down to pit road speed at that yellow line. I don't think Kevin can make the move away from it.
Well, I'll counter. If my driver could miss this pit line, I'm not sure he got all he could to the pit line.
Yeah.
I want him. Now, look, here's Larson, eventual winner. He had time to react. Right behind Harvick is Byron. A couple car lengths was enough time for him to react. So this is basically what it looks like. You're going to see, Byron turns right. Harvick enters a closed pit road. Now, this is where what they basically did so well calling him to pit road, this is where I think communication breaks down for the four. Let's listen to both Tim Feeder, the spotter, and Rodney Childers, the crew chief, and all of their conversation from the moment of the spin through their pit stop.
3, 2, 1, stay out. Yeah. Roll through, we had a spin, we already on pit road. Pit here, leaders 45, you want to pit here? Pit. Yeah, you must not have heard you, Timmy. You were right there. I don't know if he could have, Rodney, because we were right at the damn near there. No, we for sure could have. I thought so, but that's all I could make sense of my head, Yeah, I could hear him. I was already on pit road. I was committed under the commitment line.
All right, a lot of information there. It starts with Fido counting him to the line, and then the last thing he says is what? He said, stay out. So let me go on board here. Let me get it keyed up. I'm going to spin it down to all the way to pit in, right? So we saw this already. So now we're coming to the line. So somewhere in here, he's counting him, right? He's counting. And this would be where he says stay out. Harvick really has no chance.
Yeah, he doesn't. But at least he's identified that Tim realizes the lights turn red. So he's trying to get him to stay out. And then his communication with Rodney after that becomes a little less clear. It says we were on pit road. And I think the piece he meant was we were committed to coming to pit road. And it's one of those split moments that you've got to communicate, but you've got to make sure you understand the situation. Rodney does to make the better call of what he's got to do here.
All right, so the rules are simple. They have definitely entered pit road under a red light. No debate. That means pit road is closed. If you pit, that is servicing your car, tail end of the field on the next restart. NASCAR knows that if you're coming to pit road under green and the light changes, like what happened to Kevin Harvick, they don't want you to wreck to try to miss pit road. So option B is to run pit road, the entire length of pit road, at pit road speed with no service, and you get scored at the end of pit road, no harm, no foul.
Yeah, where you cross the yellow line exiting pit road, that timing loop goes all the way across the racetrack, and where you are at that exit point is where you blend back into traffic.
I've had this happen, pit stall 40, 38, 37, it's impossible. You have nowhere near enough time to make this decision. But here's the difference. We're going to keep talking, and they're going to keep rolling. Yeah. This is how far down pit road Kevin Harvick was. So this whole time, we're conversing of, hey, are we on pit road? Are we not? We didn't hear that on the radio. We heard some communication, but I wanted to hear some pointed questions of, did we or did we not make it? Should we pit? And I just think there wasn't the urgency I was looking for.
And we just entered the pit box. So I agree with you. That communication back and forth, I think, might have been a little misleading, but if you or I are sitting on the pit box, I'm going to be very clear with my spotter. Did we make it? I need to hear a yes or no. I don't need to give lead down the road. It didn't happen here, and they ended up hitting. That put them tail end. It not only put them 26th, I think was where they restarted, but they started behind all of the lap down cars by doing this. If you look at this and you're going forward here, if they just rolled through pit road, they'd have been 10, 12 seconds ahead of this because they wouldn't have slowed down to the pit stop and had that 10-second pit stop. And at this point, that's Ryan Blaney that's coming up there. He was 15th.
Yeah, so now you take a car that was running second. Good call, bad break. You can't do anything about the bad break. You can manage it correctly. That's where I think the 4 fell a little short here in communication. I think he could have restarted, to your point, 10th, 11th, 12th. He may not have won the race, but it could have been a much better finish for the 4 car. What looked like it could have been a monster day for Christopher Bell kind of went away in stage 1. We saw last year he has like a different gear, right? Won 2 races to advance. He goes to Darlington, sits on the pole, one of the best #1 pit stalls in all of NASCAR, has a new pit crew with the pit crew swap. Everything was lining up. This sounds crazy, but I was not going to be shocked if Bell ran away and hid.
Yeah, I felt like he was the best car, especially with sunlight out in the first stage before he had issues. But in a great position, as you talked about, great pit stall, was his to take advantage of, and they kind of failed.
Failed, and really all in stage 1. So let's talk about this race ran green, 115 laps. Everyone's going to pit twice. If you do simple math, you run like 38 laps, 38 more laps, 39 laps. That would be how everybody wants to do it, kind of makes the most of your tires. But the leaders started to come early. This matters because now we kind of get upside down on when to pit, when not to pit. And the first pit stall, I felt bad for Christopher Bell. New pit crew, everything good. Now it's a little complicated. He had to come around the 43, but let's just look right here. A little long, not too bad. The right side, jack up, jack down. I'm going to back up and let you see it all kind of all over again. I'm going to show it full speed because this is how quick it happens. He hits the jack post. What do you make of the issue?
Yeah, it looks like the handle didn't get tight. You know, you turn these handles to lock them in position, but looks like the handle didn't get tight and didn't get set as he came up. Double pumped and they had to go back to the jack. Seems like a quick error, but that's 5 seconds that pit stop was relative to the field.
Yeah, 5 seconds relative to the field. I was impressed. Bell basically, no big deal. Everything's going to be fine. But now the issue is he's behind. So let's take a look at our graph, do a little explanation. The yellow line is Christopher Bell relative to the leader. The leader is the top. Bell led. So this is flat because Bell led right here. And then he pits and he has a gap. To give you an idea, that right there, that's a 5-second gap, right? If we go look a little bit further, he gives up nearly 10 seconds right here. But that is stage 1 for Christopher Bell. So he pits at lap 33. Then they run to lap 72. Most leaders came at 66. He ran long. I was a fan of the strategy. You were not.
Yeah, I feel like I get it. When you want to break it down, by pitting at 66, they committed to the fact that they're going to have to go 48, 49 more laps on the last set. You want to use your tires equally. You want to split this equally, but I don't want to be on a different strategy. When I've got the best car, I've got the best pit stall, I don't want to be on a different strategy than the field that I'm racing against. And they put him back here. He ran 5 extra laps. That's how he ends up at a 10-second deficit to the leader because he ran those 5 extra laps at 2 seconds a lap slower. The pace was in the car. You see the recovery from the first stop. He got back to second. Likewise, great trajectory here, having speed. He went from, 10 seconds back. With 19 laps to go, he's 2.5 seconds back. I thought he could still win the stage.
So I like the call for all the same reasons you didn't like the call. They come at 33, which is too early. But everyone's coming, I get it. Bad pit stop. 5 seconds behind. Well, then they did recover, and they recovered enough where what I don't like about pitting with 49 to go is because then if you blow a tire with 5 to go, why were you on pit road? Why are you going to try to run 49 laps with the last set of tires with the best car? So I'm the opposite. I like that Adam Stevens said, hey, I'm not going to chase these guys down pit road. We've already lost the lead. I'm going to run 5 laps later. I'm going to put tires on. If a yellow comes out in the pit cycle, I won't get caught there. And if there's an issue at the end of this run, it's not going to hurt us. And on top of that, you and I have both seen where we know what 35 laps did on tires. There is a chance at lap 40 or 45 you start losing seconds per lap. I like the fact that he put it back in his driver's hands.
I do in ways, but I also feel like it's just one of those calls, and Monday morning I can always make the better call out of it. But yeah. I do. You added pressure to a guy that's running pace right up against the wall. I hate to put him in that situation. Ultimately, a mistake running these guys back down.
Well, and this was the mistake. This is 1 and 2 right around the top. It's not even really a huge mistake. A little up into the marbles. He tries to turn down, and this is a big hit. Man, big damage, put the 20 behind. So here's where you and I are going to split on this. I think the real key was I love the call, but then you have to manage the call, right? So now that you've given up 10 seconds and your driver is, flying, runs it down to 2 seconds, be thankful you're close enough. There's 19 laps left in the stage. We weren't trying to win this stage. Hey, man, you got us there. Great, we've recovered. I just think don't put it on your driver without the information. Now, listen, he could still make the same mistake. Christopher Bell could do that. But I don't know. I like the call. Now, I will say Jeff Burton was on Team Todd. He didn't like the call either, so he was yelling at me in the booth.
Well, I've been on the side of being on the alternate strategy with the best car and not coming out the backside of it. I feel like when your equipment's capable of beating them heads up, race their race and beat them at it.
Well, and if it wasn't just bad for Christopher Bell, Joe Gibbs Racing as a whole, 54 is not in the playoffs, Ty Gibbs, so he had an okay day, fine day. But the other two guys that have to be talked about, Truex, tons of speed, bad qualifying, starts in the back, drives to 15th, under green. Perfect start for the 19. I don't know if he would have got to the lead, but then a loose wheel, another pit problem, he has to pit twice, eliminates him.
Yeah, definitely one of those situations. I kind of kept my eye on Martin coming through. Both Martin starting in the back and Kyle Busch, they were kind of progressing together. I felt like Martin had a chance to be one of those top 5 cars, and I didn't think it was going to take it. I thought he'd get stage points in stage 2, was in a position coming forward, but green flag cycle, loose wheel, have to come back to pit road, buries you where you can't recover.
Well, the meetings aren't going to be very good at Joe Gibbs Racing in the pit department because the same for the 11 of Denny Hamlin. He wins both stages. He wins on Saturday the Xfinity race. He's dominating at a track that he is expected to run well at. None of us can give out the trophy until the checkered flag falls, but I feel like he had at least one hand on the trophy until they had a loose wheel. He said it vibrated. The team said, hey, we didn't see anything loose. He was very to the point and said, I had a vibration. They're going to have to find out what it was. A little concerning they couldn't find it, but in the end, I'm going to have to agree with the driver, assume it was a loose wheel.
Yeah, you've got to. He's, a guy that's won 50 races, you've got to trust his feel and what he feels in the car. Come back and try to recover from it. They didn't get back to where they needed to.
All right, Todd, let's go inside the numbers. Let's take a look at the playoff standings after the first race. One driver, all smiles. That's Kyle Larson. He has advanced with the checkered flag. Other drivers are happy, though. Byron, good day. Reddick, solid points day. Buescher continues to impress. Hamlin and Truex had issues, but Hamlin's success in the stages helped.
Yeah, definitely. It's 20 points and 2 bonus points out of winning both stages. That offset the finishing position, made it kind of a neutral day for him. Martin Truex Jr., he had a big points lead, lost a little bit of it here, still in a comfortable position.
Yeah, still comfortable. They don't want to have other issues. Let's talk specific. Kyle Busch went from plus 12 to plus 20. Is this a good day, bad day, a miss? How would you rate it?
Yeah, I would say it's a good day. As you looked at it, Kyle Busch had contact in practice, got to the wall, bent a toe link, had a decent qualifying effort, but had to start at the tail for an unapproved adjustment because they'd been through inspection before practice out there. So recovery from starting at the tail, drove his way forward, thought he was in contention, but got a positive day out of it.
Every driver pre-Darlington said, we just want to have a calm race one, execute race one. Well, congratulations to Brad Keselowski and Ryan Blaney. Both did that. They had good cars. They didn't make a lot of highlight reels, either good or bad. For that reason, they still have a little bit of advantage. But there's some discussion that has to be done around here. The 1 of Chastain, the 22 of Logano, and the 23 of Bubba Wallace all had moments. Let's start with the 1. His moment was they stunk. They started the race and they weren't good. They went a lap down. Adjustments, though, helped their car. And really, for the entire second half of stage 1, he chased the leader as the first car 1 lap down.
I think the first stage may be the defining moment of the one car's playoffs. They ended up a lap down. Ross found a way to keep pace with the leaders. He kept himself in that transfer position for when a caution came out. First car 1 lap down. He dug along. Every time they passed somebody, he got to him with them. He put a big effort into keeping himself in a position where he could recover, and they did.
I think we're going to look at this race as an evolution of Ross Chastain. If you go back to the first race in Darlington, he gets into a wreck with Kyle Larson. He gets called out by Rick Hendrick. When I talked to him about it, he said what he had to learn is he had a winning car, he had hit the wall earlier, and he just couldn't accept the car wasn't winning anymore. It didn't have that speed, and he pushed too hard. This race at Darlington, I thought he was exactly what Trackhouse needed behind the wheel. He just took what the 1 would give him, let the team do the work, stayed out of the fence, and for that reason, he got a good finish. I didn't think he was going to recover. Talk about recovery and good finishes. Paul Wolfe and Joey Logano, I don't know how many pit stops it was exactly, but we had the hood up, tires off, toe links adjusted, changed. It was a blue-collar effort for the 22.
It definitely was a great recovery for the 22. Last lap of the first stage, Bubba Wallace comes up, gets into him, pushes him in the wall. They've got left side damage. They've got right side damage. They came out after this stop. They were a second off the pace. Went a lap down, recovered their way, found a way back, continued. When they got the lucky dog, they came to pit road every lap they could, continued to work on the car. They continued to put an effort into this, came out with a top 15 run.
You mentioned Bubba Wallace. I was worried. It was an emotional grind to make the playoffs, and then he did have that issue right at the end of stage one. I thought the wheels were going to come off. I'm going to have to give it to this team. Booty Barker on the radio, Bubba Wallace refocused, and they put together a great race. Darlington and the Southern 500, I think, is the biggest mental test of the year because it's long, it's emotional, and nothing feels good. While it's not going to look super impressive because he's -1, remember he came in at -8. So he did gain 7 points heading to Kansas where he has great success. I think the 23 team has to feel good.
I think they have to feel really good. I think, Bubba did. He mental mistake. End of stage one, trying to make a pass for a position that wasn't going to be playoff points or stage points. Made a mistake. But Booty Barker got him refocused, and they put together the rest of the race. Came out of there with a solid finish.
Well, the first playoff driver to make a mistake was the 47 of Stenhouse, speeding on the first pit stop, hung around. I thought it was wheels off for the 47. It wasn't. They stayed in touch at -4. I want to talk about McDowell. Great story. He's in the playoffs, up and down day, finally gets in the wreck. I know 19 points out doesn't seem huge, but unless we see other cars make mistakes, I think McDowell is going to, I don't want to say must win, but I think it's a must needing help. He needs someone to help him gain these 20 points.
I think he's in a tough hole right now, given the races are coming up. With Kansas and Bristol, pit road's going to make a big difference. Plenty of times to come to pit road. His execution has happened at road courses where you don't have to come to pit road, but 2 or 3 times, usually under green. They're in a position where they need help. They need somebody else to knock themselves out of the playoffs to get them back forward into above the cut line.
Well, you led right to the next thing to discuss. Guys, race 1 behind us. 2 more races in the round of 16. Kansas, a high-speed 1.5 miles, and then the Bull Ring. We'll head to Bristol for the night race. It's going to be exciting to watch. We'll see how many more winners we get and who can find those so valuable points.